Welcome back to another Element Fissions video, and in this video we will be talking about the new crafty event that we just got today. So let's take a look at what it is. So it's a legendary gear crafting event for the Fire Dungeon. It looks like you can get an infinite amount of points. So if you're super active, you farm more points, and to gain points, you just do your typical dailies. It benefits those that play more, right? So it kind of not really force you, but gives you a reason to continue to farm. That way you can craft the perfect gear piece. So if we go ahead and select the select button, here we can select the different gear types from the fire dungeon: focus, echo, protect, zeal, steady, and precision. My personal opinion, I will 100% recommend Zeal. Zeal is going to be for immunity. Immunity is going to be extremely good for Arena. Now, in terms of immunity with PvE content, probably not the end of the world. You don't necessarily need immunity for PvE content, but a slot 2 speed with a major stat with perfect substats can ideally be used on any element, and then on top of that be super beneficial in PvP once you start getting into them. Now, it looks like we can just have to select a slot, and my recommendation for the slot is a slot 2 speed, a slot 4 crit damage, or a slot 6 HP percent, or accuracy. And the reason why I say that is slot 2 speed can be, again, used on anybody with perfect substats. So in terms of the substats itself, I would recommend crit rate, crit damage at HP percent and defense percent if you choose the slot 2 speed. That's what I am going to go for. That's what I'm going to chase. I think it's going to help me long term. Whether I use a gear piece now or use it later on. So it's going to be super beneficial there. Slot 4, crit damage, because ideally in the future, right now, it's better to just build like speed HP or triple HP for your bruiser teams in PvP content. But once you get better substats, having a crit damage slot 4 is going to be more beneficial for you in terms of damage output. So just imagine if you have a crit damage slot 4 that has like 30% HP substat. Now, I guess you can kind of say that, hey, why can't I have an HP percent slot 4 with crit damage with 30% crit damage? Well, the crit damage gears themselves comes harder. It's harder to find. In my personal experience playing the game, crit damage slot 4 and having great substats is harder to find versus a HP percent with perfect substats. Now that might just be my personal experience. You might have 3, 4, or 5 perfect crit damage gear pieces, but for me, I don't even have close to one. So that is the secondary, and that is what I would recommend players to go for if they don't go for a slot 2 speed. Now, in terms of slot 6, if you want to, you could definitely, I would recommend the HP percent just because of the bruiser meta. And on top of that, HP percent is going to be super beneficial in PvE content as well, especially having those perfect substats. And then, if not, some players, maybe a good handful of them, might go for a slot 6 accuracy, just because accuracy right now, PvP has a high resistance check. A lot of players are running high resistance. Having a slot 6 accuracy to strip, to buff, sorry, not to buff, but to strip or to debuff is going to be super beneficial for you in the PvP aspect of the game. So from 1, 2 to 3, slot 2 is my number one option with a speed major substat with substats of crit rate, crit damage, HP percent, defense percent. And then for slot 4, it's going to be a crit damage with substats of crit rate, attack percent, speed, and then all the other substats is fine, but I do want to avoid luck. You don't want luck in here just because you want this to be more of a perfect gear piece for PvP, but at the same time still useful in PvE, right? So just so if you miss out on luck, that's perfectly fine. That's only used for gear farming. It's not the end of the world if you don't have a luck substat. Now, in terms of the slot 6 HP percent, if you go for HP percent, you'll ideally go for crit rate, speed, crit rate, crit damage, attack percent if possible, and then possibly accuracy as well. Now, if you choose the accuracy major stat, then similar substats. Crit rate, crit damage, HP percent, defense percent, and speed. You would then essentially want to hopefully roll a double, triple, or quadruple speed roll. So that is my recommendation for what gear piece to select. Now, if you don't want to do Zeal, you could definitely do Echo. Echo is probably going to be my secondary option, but because we can select this specific gear piece, I am going to do Zeal. All right. So that looks like that's going to be all for that crafting part. Now, in terms of the points here, it looks like it's just similar to the natural 5-star event. So you'll just want to honestly buy this whole shop out and then use the rest of the points to craft your gear piece. In terms of the quest, similar thing as the natural 5-star event. Vendor, I already bought it out, but okay, yeah. So you just get energy, summons, gear pieces, and dices. Definitely buy that out. And then in terms of exchange, buy the LD scroll. And then I guess if you're super free to play, then ideally, if you want to be efficient, then you just buy battery packs, right? But for me, no one is going to tell me if I can or can't buy an LD scroll. LD scroll is an LD scroll. The super premium 100%. If you're free to play, light spender, whale, just buy this LD scroll because if you essentially pull LD Nav 4 or LD Nav 5, I guarantee you're gonna love the game just a little bit more. But yeah, so that is my personal opinion. I will go for LD, and then essentially I will get the 70 pieces, and then eventually the dices if I can. But most importantly, just get the LD, and then if not, the battery packs as well. All right, so I believe that is all of the event. So pretty straightforward, similar to the natural 5-star, and there doesn't seem to be anything else to it. Sweet, awesome. If you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the comment button, or leave a comment in the description, or leave a comment down below. I can't speak. Or if you want to see future content, and or if you want to see future content, subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. I appreciate all of the support. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one.